Hi, I'm Dr. Chris Stevens, and this is the Psychology to Live By podcast. A quiet mind is a strong mind. In this and the following talk, we'll examine how and why this is so. In part one, we'll examine the reasons that a quiet mind is so beneficial. And we'll look at two practices to induce it: extended out breathing and a simple mindfulness meditation. In part two, we'll explore other applications: everyday mindfulness, interpersonal mindfulness, and using mindfulness to increase our emotional intelligence and our balance. In an age of busyness and urgency, of multitasking and work overload, it'd be understandable to think that what's required is a really switched on mind or a really busy mind. But nothing could be farther from the truth. The noisier the mind, the less productive it becomes. This is because it's actually engaging in switch tasking, usually understood as multitasking, which is really counterproductive. It degrades tasks, it stresses the brain and body, it actually takes longer. By contrast, a calm mind leads to efficiency, mental clarity, and higher productivity. And central to this is mindfulness. So mindfulness generally means paying attention in a particular way, on purpose, in the present moment, and non-judgmentally. When we practice this, we're training our brain to be less reactive and more objective. We become more effective at dealing with everyday tasks because we're less distracted, more aware, and more observant. Now, this kind of mindful presence is not necessarily meditation. We can be mindful doing just about anything: fishing, cleaning, talking, working, and so on. Nor is it merely relaxing or just letting the mind drift. Rather, it's constituted by mental work, in the sense that it's not easy. It takes focus and effort. But it can be substantially strengthened via practice as a personal capability. All right, so why do we want a quiet mind? Well, there's a huge range of empirically validated physical, cognitive, and emotional benefits. So physically, we see increased immune function, lowered blood pressure, lowered heart rate, and reduced body inflammation. Cognitively, there's increased awareness and perceptual acuity, better higher brain functioning, better attention and focus, increased clarity and thought. And emotionally, lower anxiety, more calmness and stillness, feeling more connected to the world and to others. Importantly, all of this is reflected in increased density of grey matter in the brain regions responsible for these functions. Now, one way to build mindfulness is to practice breathing exercises. How do we use breathing to calm the body and the mind? Well, this is by modulating the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous systems. The sympathetic branch of the autonomic nervous system is often described as the fight-flight system. When it's in charge, heart rate and blood pressure increase, the body accesses its energy stores, and we breathe faster to get in more oxygen. All this is in service of some anticipated life-saving actions. It's meant to be a short-term response to dangerous threats, but it can be damaging to the body and the mind when chronically activated, causing high inflammation, anxiety, and impaired cognitive function. The parasympathetic system, often called the rest and digest system, is the other branch of the autonomic nervous system, which is designed to quieten the body, lowering blood pressure and heart rate, lessening inflammation, and stimulating the immune system and our digestion, and leaving us calmer and with a quieter mind. Now, ideally, these two systems are in constant modulation with each other. For example, each in-breath energizes us slightly, stimulating the sympathetic system, and each out-breath relaxes us slightly, stimulating the parasympathetic system. And we need this balance of activation and relaxation to be optimally productive and well. One technique that is particularly effective in restoring our balance is extended out-breathing. So how does it work? By doubling the duration of the out-breath relative to the in-breath. Over time, you're decreasing the ratio of oxygen to carbon dioxide in the blood. And when your brain recognizes this, it concludes you must be very relaxed or chilled, as you're not breathing in so much. So it then initiates a relaxation response, which includes switching off the fight-flight system in favour of our parasympathetic system. The exercise is quite simple. You sit comfortably, upright, and then take a deep breath for, say, a count of 4, and breathe out for a count of 8. Don't strain or struggle. If after a while it starts to come easily, increase the in-breath and out-breath counts as you continue. So try 5 in and 10 out, or 6 in and 12 out, and so on. With practice, you can get excellent results in several minutes. Now, increasing the lengths of the breaths makes the technique more efficient because of the doubling. It also expands and loosens the intercostal muscles of the rib cage, making deep breathing easier and more natural. The most common mindfulness practice is mindfulness of the breath. And it's quite a simple approach. Once again, you just normally would sit comfortably upright. You might start by taking a nice deep breath and letting it out slowly. And here's a suggested approach to this kind of mindfulness meditation. So you sit, and then you first notice sounds outside you, and then gradually turning your attention to sounds closer to you, and eventually even sounds within you. Then find a location. It can be the nose, your throat, your chest, your belly, your back, wherever it's easiest, where you can notice the sensations of your breathing. And begin by counting breaths. So count 1 for the first in-breath and out-breath, and then 2 for the next in-breath, out-breath, and so on up to 10. Then start from 1 again. After, say, 30 breaths observed in this way, let go of the counting and see if you can simply observe without changing the sensations of breathing. Don't try to breathe in any kind of special or better way. Allow your body to breathe naturally. Now, when you inevitably notice your mind is not paying attention, don't worry. Just gently pull your awareness back to the breath. This is completely normal. Now, sometimes it is useful to note what distracted you by using a label such as thought, memory, imagining, anxiety, discomfort, itchiness. And then just gently tug your awareness back to your intended object, the sensations of breathing. Now, if you practice these 2 techniques for just a few minutes each day, you'll need no convincing. Your awareness will become just that much clearer and that much less distracted, and you'll start to observe the strength and tranquility of a more quiet mind. You've been listening to the Psychology to Live By podcast. If you'd like to know more, my website is www.drchris.life. And if you like the podcast, share it with people you like so they can like it too.